South Africa, the rainbow nation, shines brightly with promise, but shadows lurk beneath the surface. Despite the end of apartheid, deep problems fester. Unemployment cripples communities. Inequality widens the gap between rich and poor. And the government, meant to serve the people, often seems to fail them. Basic services, like clean water and reliable electricity, are a struggle for many. Education, the key to a brighter future, remains out of reach for too many children. And crime casts a long shadow over everyday life. The dream of a truly free and equal South Africa feels distant for many. This is the reality for millions of South Africans. The promise of a better tomorrow often feels lost in the face of today's challenges. The government, while making efforts, often seems overwhelmed by the scale of the problems. And a culture of reactive rather than proactive governance only deepens the sense of frustration. Food poisoning, a preventable illness. Yet, in South Africa, it makes headlines with alarming regularity. Outbreaks, often linked to poor hygiene and lax regulations, sicken communities. Hospitals overflow, and tragically, lives are lost. The government's response often follows a familiar pattern: initial silence. Then, as public outcry grows, promises of action, investigations are launched. Officials vow to hold those responsible accountable, but the cycle repeats. Another outbreak, more suffering, more empty promises. This reactive approach highlights a dangerous trend. The government seems content to address problems only when they reach crisis levels. This is not leadership, it's crisis management, and it's costing lives. South Africa needs a government that prioritizes the well-being of its citizens before disaster strikes. Corruption is a cancer eating away at South Africa's potential. It's not just about politicians lining their pockets. It's about the everyday ways corruption hurts ordinary people. At the borders, officials accept bribes, allowing illegal goods and people to flow in and out unchecked. This undermines security and hurts legitimate businesses. Inside the Department of Home Affairs, the very agency tasked with protecting citizens' identities, corruption thrives. Fake passports and IDs are readily available, fueling crime and undermining trust in the system. Those who can afford to pay can buy their way to the front of the line, leaving others stranded in a bureaucratic nightmare. This culture of corruption sends a clear message: the rules don't apply to everyone. It erodes faith in institutions and breeds cynicism. It's time for South Africa to confront this scourge head-on. Transparency, accountability, and consequences for wrongdoing are essential. Section 4. A Band-Aid approach. Why prevention trumps reaction in South Africa? Imagine a leaking roof. Do you wait until the house floods to fix it? Or do you repair the leak before it causes major damage? This is the fundamental difference between a reactive and proactive approach. Sadly, South Africa too often opts for the former. Take the issue of potholes. They plague roads across the country, damaging vehicles and causing accidents. The government's response? Patch them up after the fact. A temporary fix for a recurring problem. Why not invest in proper road maintenance, preventing potholes from forming in the first place? This Band-Aid approach is not sustainable. It's more costly in the long run, and more importantly, it fails to address the root causes of the problems. South Africa needs a government that thinks long-term, investing in preventative measures that create a healthier, safer, and more prosperous future. Section 5. A future on the brink. The stakes of inaction for South Africa. The future of South Africa hangs in the balance. Will it be a nation that finally realizes its full potential? Or will it be one crippled by its inability to address its fundamental flaws? The answer depends on the choices made today. The government must embrace a proactive approach to governance. This means investing in education, healthcare, and job creation. It means tackling corruption at its roots and ensuring accountability at all levels. It means listening to the needs of the people and acting swiftly to address their concerns. The time for empty promises is over. South Africa needs action, decisive action. The world is watching, hoping that the Rainbow Nation can overcome its challenges and shine brightly once more. The future is not yet written, but the pen is in the hands of those in power.